A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with thelibertybeacon.com. And I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and an occasional guest type podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Season 2, Episode 67. I actually just got done recording a special drop that I was expecting that I would have dropped a couple days ago on Thursday regarding Kamala Goebbels-Harris and the continued lies and digging Groundhog Harris out of her cave long enough to go on a friendly show that they know she will be allowed to spew lies and have no follow-up questions, no pushback, no fact checks, just let her spew her current memorized lines to parrot and then run away back to the cave again to hide like basement Biden. But hey, that's not what this is. This is strategically stupid. Now, they think their strategy is strategically smart, and given how dumb the Kamalunist is, hiding her is a good strategy. It's probably the only chance they got, because the more she spews word salad and stupid stuff, the more chance they lose more and more independence to Trump. So they'll stick to the lying ads on TV that I also discussed on Thursday. In the video-only exclusive, you won't be seeing or hearing that anywhere on the audio podcast platforms. But strategically stupid. I've written about it before. I thought it was time to probably do an update. First thing I want to do, if you see on the behind-the-scenes video, I'm waving my notes here from the libertybeacon.com piece of the same name, Strategically Stupid. I want to read the opening. As you know, hopefully, if you're a regular. Also, I was going to say, I expect this to be a short show, but if you're a regular, you've heard me say that before, and then it turns into a 3-hour marathon. Well, of course, yeah, hyperbole, exaggeration. I never record that long, but they wind up being longer. I don't think that will be true today, but my books, my ChristiTutionalist Politics books, CTP 2 has a quotations chapter. Normally, obviously, quotations come from famous people over time, a lot of those, and some lesser famous people. Very important quotes I thought needed to be in that book quotations chapter, and a few Joe original quotations, like the one I'm about to read, relates to the Strategically Stupid show. Real leaders studied Art of War by Sun Tzu, whereas leaders doomed to failure, sadly far too many USA leaders, seem to have studied Art of Stupid by Sunburn. Yeah, I've told that a few different places. It's a pretty good applause line. If I do say so myself, and I'm about to, pretty clever line, but that sums it up, right? You can know a whole bunch. You can think a lot of thoughts about what can work, what may work, but have you learned what kind of works strategically? I'll be hearkening back to the Bill Clinton election here in a minute, right? Do you go with tried and true tactics, or do you unnecessarily just go off on a whim that may or may not work? And that's in part what we're talking about strategically stupid here. And those who studied the art of stupid, like Biden, Sunburn, and unfortunately, frankly, some on the right also, you just go off on tangents and people just roll their eyes at them. And that's the point here. I know, I get it. I'm with you. For like a decade now, we've been talking about particular things that are happening and got what? Labeled nut, kooks, conspiracy theorists, like the Hunter Biden laptop with Russian disinformation and conspiracy. But of course, it was entered into evidence in Hunter Biden's own crime trials. It's real, right? So I get it. I know we've been saying, and we were right all along on so many things. So I get it that you want to talk about those things still, repeat those things and say, see, we told you so. Are you paying attention now? Well, you know what? Sorry, I feel that way too. But again, we can't feel, we got to think. It is strategically stupid because you'll also then just get some more eye rolls, or telling somebody told you so isn't going to endear you to them and them necessarily listen to you now, even though you were right about all that other stuff before. So what is strategically smart, rather than talk, you can be right all day long. As I've written elsewhere, matters not what you know true, but what you can convince others true, right? Sufficient evidence to show it true and get them to believe you. Again, we could talk about the Russian collusion delusion and the Steele dossier and all that stuff. See, we told you so. They're not going to listen. This election cycle, it's the economy, stupid, right? As Carville said, Bill Clinton got elected on that. No, Perot, spare me the Perot, H.W. Bush and Clinton. Perot, study after study showed, I was there, I lived through it, I've been involved in politics since 78. I went to some Perot United We Stand America group meetings. The group was great. The Reform Party, I think, is silly and stupid and certainly didn't support that. But the United We Stand America group that tried to get people to think more conservatively was a good group. But the point here, the studies show, and yes, anecdotal, I was there, it's what I saw, but not just me here in Michigan, talking to contacts, other states all over the nation. Indeed, it repeated everywhere. Perot drew from people who were otherwise not going to vote for Bush or Clinton. He provided an alternative, much like some thought RFK Jr., if he stayed on the ballot, might be. People with TDS who would never, ever vote for Trump, but couldn't find themselves to vote for the Kamalunist, as I call her, as well as all kinds of other names, right? Kamala Goebbels Harris, my Thursday special, lying all the time. If people could not vote for H.W. Bush, would not vote for Bill Clinton, Perot gave them that alternative. He got a lot of votes of people who would have otherwise maybe voted, but left the presidential portion of the ballot blank. So Perot didn't cost anyone an election, period. It's a convenient excuse for H.W. Bush people to try to make themselves feel better. But H.W. Bush lost because of the no new taxes pledge that he broke. And same here. Again, people will never, ever, ever, the TDS folks never, ever vote for Trump. But it's positive. It's progress for us if we can finally show, look, the fascicrats, as I call them, or it's really a commie, fasci, socies blend. This isn't the 1930s, as you've heard me say before, where the National Socialists were fighting the Moscow-backed communists, just like El Duce in Italy and Franco and Spain later became known fascists. They were socialists fighting each other. Today, they are all one and the same, usually mostly cooperating with each other because they all have the ultimate same goals, destroying the United States. Okay? So there's that. Certain people are never going to vote for Trump, but if we can convince them the fascicrats of today are certainly nowhere near what they were during JFK. And that's why you see people like Leo Terrell, Candace Owens, Brandon Strzok, and Tammy Bruce, and I'm drawing a blank on a ton of Alan Dershowitz, lifelong leftist Democrat. Well, he would call himself a liberal Democrat. As Prager says, there is a difference between a classical liberal. That's why Brandon Strzok, as a white gay man, convinced by the usual identity politics idiocy that Democrats were the gay party, right? Despite the log cabin Republicans, which after the Charlottesville lie was finally exposed to him, he went down rabbit hole after rabbit hole and saw all the other things the leftist media was lying to him, making him, as a classical liberal, a useful idiot for the leftist ideologues. And same with an Alan Dershowitz now. He is no longer a Democrat, and that's fine. Him becoming a Republican isn't a necessity. It's electoral math. Yes, if you can take a Democrat voter and now make them a Republican voter, that actually counts as 2 votes because it's one less on that side, one more on this side. That's actually a difference of 2 votes. But if you can just subtract some from that left Democrat column, it means there are less votes we need to overcome in order to win. So that's a good thing. That's a positive. You don't have to convince a classical liberal to become a Republican. Just get them to the point where they can no longer be a Democrat. Let them be an independent. And again, Alan Dershowitz now, as a classical liberal, can no longer associate with the ultra-leftist, commie, fasci, soci blend. I mean, Alan Dershowitz himself was quasi-commie quite a bit for a long time. We're never going to change a lot of his liberal thoughts. But again, as long as he's not voting for the Democrat, that is a positive toward victory for our side. See what I mean about being strategically smart as opposed to strategically stupid? And it's strategically stupid to talk to anyone this election cycle, but it's the economy stupid that Carville coined for Clinton and helped Clinton defeat H.W. Bush. Forget about the Perot thing. And again, RFK Jr., another one of those. I think he's a nut. I think he's a loon. Just because he's walked away from the Democrat Party and is now an independent and supporting Trump doesn't mean I'm going to change my tune about him. As you've heard me say over and over, I'm about principles, not personality. In fact, if you're watching on the video behind the scenes, I'm taking a second here while I'm stalling, so I could change my background. there it is, my Terror Strikes info background created for me by the crew at Savaged Unfiltered that I co-host with a couple of my books on it, right? Principles, not personalities. They put principles before personalities, same thing, but my hashtag, principles, not personalities, right? RFK Jr. is a nut. He's a loon. He's never going to change on a lot of different things, but that's okay. That doesn't mean we can't work with him on something. And indeed, very soon, I have a piece in the works coming, a show and a TLB piece. RFK Jr. for health secretary? That may be in the works. That may be coming. So he may be way out there in left field still on a lot of things. It's like Tulsi Gabbard also walked away from the Democrat Party. I've met her. I've talked to her. I think she's a great person to talk to, nice person. But I don't trust the potential World Economic Forum ties that are there. I would never, ever vote for her for president. But that doesn't mean she can't be the right cabinet post for Trump on something or another. Things we can agree on. Okay, we agree to disagree on that other 80%, but that 20% we agree on, it is strategically stupid to not make use of them. They've been useful idiots for the other side. We don't want to call them useful idiots for us, of course, but you get the point. We can indeed work with them, cooperate, and be useful to each other to a particular issue or topic, subject matter ends without the leftists, any means to the end. No, we want to do it the right way on principles, not personality. So I hope I didn't get too rambly and disjointed. All these things relate that I mentioned and talk about. At the end of the day, it's about being strategically smart. What can work? You could be right all day long, but if you talk about stupid stuff that independents are going to just roll their eyes and laugh at you, you're not helping. You're hurting the chances to win, and you can't govern if you don't win. So again, indeed, with all that's going on, the Biden-Harris communomics, it is clear. The issue one is it's the economy, stupid. Let's not be stupid. Let's be strategically smart. Okay? I think I've gotten all those points in that I need to. Again, I bounced back and forth a little. I hope it was not so disjointed to be confusing. All those points together, coming together to make that point. Again, I'm going to read my quote because, I'm happy. I'm loving the fact that people say they love this quote. So I'm proud of it. And, Christian show, right? Pride is not the sin. Hubris is the sin. You've heard me. I'm off on another rabbit hole here for sure. This has nothing to do with the strategically smart or strategically stupid, but pride. You should have pride in your children when they come home with A's on their report card. You should be proud when little Johnny hits the home run winning walk-off home run at Little League, right? That's an okay pride. Hubris is the sin when it's about you and only you all the time. That's hubris. That's the sin. So yes, indeed, I said that because I'm proud of this quote and going to read it again. Indeed, real leaders studied Art of War by Sun Tzu, whereas leaders doomed to failure, sadly far too many USA leaders, seem to have studied Art of Stupid by Sunburn. Let's be Sun Tzu tactically smart and not Art of Stupid Sunburn strategically stupid. Thank you all. Take care. God bless.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff, no fancy high production intro or insert, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help to grow the show.
Just wanted to give a brief shout out and thank you to all the folks on iHeartRadio and Player FM for being 2 in the top 3 platforms that my show, ChristiTutionalist Politics, is most often listened to. So thank you all. Take care. God bless.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.